Welcome, 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 folks. It is Thursday, Friday Junior. Welcome, Yellow King, Derry Bennett, Quad Bennett, Michael Hassler, Mayhem Hippie. Welcome, everybody. I'm surprised I got on this quickly. If it don't fit, then you're a glove. Wait a minute. Yes, it appears that O.J. Simpson has passed away due to cancer, apparently. Heat, how's it going? Welcome. Yep. It just happened today, I'm pretty sure, right? Today or yes, today. It had to be today. Saw the verdict live on cable TV. Man, how long ago was that? Was that like I want to say mid to late 90s? Mid to late 90s when that happened, right? Not to date myself too much, but I probably was not. I may have been alive, but not old enough to 94. Yeah, okay. I was definitely I was around. Just not just not around to understand. Not old enough to understand or even have a concept. Was what but a wee lass, exactly. Okay, it happened today. Got it. Yeah, I saw the headline today. All right, folks, we got to get started because I have to head to the store tonight. I have to head to the store tonight, so I gotta get some shopping done. Folks, before we get started, don't forget, if you want to support the channel and you enjoy the content, there's a few different ways. I see you guys on YouTube. Thank you. Keep liking the stream. It really does help us out. Keep liking the stream. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. 253 of you have already done so. Thank you. Follow here on Twitch. And keep it up, folks. We're here Monday through Thursday. If you want to stay in touch with the channel or just hang out with some cool people, join the Discord. We also do movie nights, which I have to do the poll. Now that Discord has actual integrated polls, I can do the polls for the next movie night, which is the last Saturday of every month. If you want to support the channel while wearing some cool merch, you can check out !merch. Kamikaze, welcome. All right, folks, let's get started because I gotta get going. Yeah, that is pretty cool. By far, one of the most useful updates, significant updates that I want to say Twitch, Discord has done. Definitely. And I will take advantage of it. I will absolutely take advantage of it. Because, like, if we want to do, like, it's not just for movie nights, but, like, if we want to do, like, different type of polling or whatever, it serves it serves a number of purposes. All right, folks. I think we should probably start this one. Let's keep stirring the pot, folks. Okay? One of my favorite pastimes, okay, is stirring the pot and watching the right eat itself, okay?
The Republican caucus in Congress is split between a very small group of Republican Congress people who are clowns and who
well, yes, but they're fascist, Ben.
wish to basically do their clown act on TV for money and notoriety, and the vast majority of Republicans who actually would like to pass bills that they believe are the best thing they can get for America. That doesn't mean the best bill possible, because the best bill possible is not possible when you have a Democratic Senate and a Democratic president. But there's a
Yeah, I love the tacit little like admission there. Like, yeah, dude, the best thing for America isn't possible because we don't control all levers of government. So therefore, like, we can't really do the best for America.
a group of Republican Congress people who have decided that it is very important that they be very famous. And in order to be very famous, they're going to do things like challenge the speakership of the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who is more conservative on policy than any of them. This would be the same group of clowns who decided to oust Kevin McCarthy for no reason other than Matt Gaetz had some sort of vengeance plan against Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah. Why is that, though? I have the why is very important, It's because he was also under investigation. He was under an ethics investigation, and McCarthy didn't shut it down when he became speaker. That's part of the reason. But anyways, it's nice to see this.
Mike Johnson should nuke this dumb rule right now. And if he requires Democrats to help him do it, then he should get Democrats to help him do it. And if you don't like that, you should blame Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's the one who decided to bring the latest quick.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to need Democratic support. Like, Mike Johnson can't nuke that rule, can he? To change the rules of the House, you need to vote on it. Right? That's how that works. Or am I wrong? You know what? Instead of, like, talking nonsense, how can you change the strength of an electromagnet? No, I'm not playing with electromagnets. The rules of the House of Representatives. Special rules must be filed from the floor while the House is in session. The special rules considered and debated after a one-day layover. Special rules may be considered, but this isn't a special rule, though. By unanimous consent, minor changes in the standing rules may be considered unanimous consent. Chapter 5, Section 5.2. The House may, by unanimous consent, waive the requirements of a particular rule unless the rule itself provides that it's not subject to waiver even by... Okay, so wait a minute. But if there is no unanimous consent, then what? The House ordinarily will adopt the rules applicable in the previous Congress with such amendments as it considers necessary. Such rules are adopted or amended pursuant to a simple resolution that is called upon as privileged and debated under principles of general parliamentary law. Yada, yada, yada. Changes in the rules from prior Congress normally emanate from the conference or caucus of the party that commands a majority and thus has the responsibility of organizing the House. And before adoption rules, it is in order to consider the privileged resolution, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so a majority vote? A majority vote? A motion to commit is in order. Okay, so hold on. The first thing that needs to happen, I may have all this wrong, but when a member of the majority party offers a resolution providing rules for the new Congress, the resolution is debatable for 1 hour. The resolution is not subject to amendment unless the previous question is rejected or the manager of the resolution yields for an amendment. A motion to refer is in order with instructions is in order before the debate begins, but this motion is subject to be laid on the table. A motion to commit is in order pending the following: the ordering of previous question, which is a prerogative of the minority, but the proponent may need not qualify as opposed to the resolution and is not debatable. A majority vote is required to adopt the resolution establishing rules for new Congress. But like what if you want to propose a rule when the Congress is already in session, like in the middle of Congress, in the middle of that cycle? Statutory rules and joint rules. In some cases, Congress has enacted statutes setting forth rules and procedures to be followed when the House considers certain kinds of legislation. No, that's not what we want. Changing or waiving rules. Pursuant to authority under Article 1, Section 5 of the Constitution, the House may change or waive the rules governing its proceeding. This is even so with respect to rules enacted by statute, manual, section, whatever. Once the rules have been adopted at the convening of the House in a new Congress, further amendments to the rules are generally implemented by resolution, yada, yada, yada. A motion to amend the rules of the House do not present a question of constitutional privilege. A question of privileges of the House may not be invoked to effect a change in the rules of the House or their interpretation. The effect of a proposed change in the rules or a proposed special order of business is a matter for debate and not within the jurisdiction of the chair to decide on a parliamentary inquiry during its pendency. For the motion to suspend the rules, see suspension of rules. Okay. The House may, by unanimous consent, waive the requirements of a particular rule. So he can do this. McCarthy can do this, I think. Amendments to the rules are generally offered in the form of privileged resolution, reported and called by the Committee on the Rules. Such a resolution may not be amended unless the member in charge yields for that proposed or the previous question is voted down. Yada, yada, yada. Although a resolution from the Committee on Rules to amend the House is privileged, a resolution offered from the floor to amend the House rules is not privileged for consideration as against a demand that the business proceed in the regular order. Yeah, so I think they do have to vote on this. Firefly, welcome. Oh, God, it's Ben. Yeah, I know. I was just curious. All right. Continue.
Quixotic attempt to take down the Speaker of the House for no reason other than to get her name on TV. There is no logic here. There is no rationale here. There is no reason here. I'm sick of watching the Republican caucus be dominated by people who have no interest in actual conservative policy and appear to only want to get on TV and talk radio.
Yeah, that's kind of the entire that's kind of the entire Republican Party, huh?
You just heard Ben Shapiro indirectly call Marjorie Taylor Greene a clown for doubling down on her threat to oust Speaker Mike Johnson. Now, I'll keep it real. I don't really care what Ben Shapiro has to say.
Yeah, it's just funny. This whole thing is just funny. Yeah, that's right. You helped make this monster, Ben. You and the rest of these Daily Wire clowns are partially responsible.
I'm just here for the show. So with that in mind, Marjorie, care to respond?
You're a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit.
Sorry. I was saying, number one, this is hilarious. Number two, I hope that her seeing this and her being angry at this makes her quadruple down on following through with the motion to vacate the speaker, just because she's big mad. Oh man, that would be the ultimate chef's kiss. That would be the ultimate chef's kiss if, because she's so big mad that everyone else is big mad at her, that she just quadruples down and follows through that motion to vacate Johnson.
Wow. Ben, thoughts?
F around and find out.
Oh, that sounds like a threat.
Oh man, this just keeps getting better and better and better. Love it. You love to see it.
Marjorie, care to respond to that?
No way. There's more to this. Oh man, that's too funny. Nothing better than watching two fascists go at each other's throats.
See, I take it that her laughter is a bit of an indication that she doesn't take his threats seriously. Ben, how do you respond to that?
Oh my god. I forgot about Jesus. There should be a freaking content warning on this one. I forgot about this freaking scene.
Weird. Okay, it kind of just seems like they've both gone full Joker mode at this point. Look, I kid, obviously. I've got to say, the amount of random sound bites that I have of conservatives on my computer is genuinely embarrassing. But let's get back on track. Marjorie...
True. I should have known. I should have watched this video beforehand.
Taylor Greene didn't respond to Ben Shapiro, at least yet. But the video that you saw of Ben Shapiro, I think it really speaks to the genuine frustration that...
Honestly, I would have believed it, okay? Honestly, I would have believed it. It literally does. Like, if you didn't... if he would have left that out, I honestly would have just thought that this was real. Because, like, it does sound exactly... Minus the one that gave it away was the last part. That sounds exactly like how the exchange would go. So yeah, I fell for it, except for the last part.
Republicans feel with Marjorie Taylor Greene's threat to oust Speaker Mike Johnson. They think it's downright absurd. And after weeks of snubbing Johnson, they actually did meet. And Johnson is responding to Greene by kind of low-key bribing her in a
Yeah, he should do a horror film.
sense. So I'll tell you about that in a moment. But first, I do want to talk about the lead up to this meeting, so that way you have more context. But on top of that, I do want to go back to the last speaker that was ousted, because as Ben Shapiro noted,
I think the Marjorie Taylor Greene laughing clip was from when she was drunkenly tried to harass AOC a few years ago. Really? Oh my god. Jesus.
Gates inexplicably ousted McCarthy because of some vengeance plan that he had. And it turns out that's not actually wrong. We all kind of suspected it, but we now know why, thanks to McCarthy, who decided to spill the tea.
You made a lot of concessions in the negotiations.
No, I didn't. Okay.
Okay, is that
Let's
the-
get to the bottom of that.
Right,
That
no,
is such a misnomer in life. Let me give you the truth about that now. And I'll give you the truth why I'm not speaker. It's because one person, a member of Congress, wanted me to stop an ethics complaint because he slept with a 17-year-old. An ethics complaint that started before I ever became speaker, and that's illegal, and I'm not going to get in the middle. Did he do it or not? I don't know. But an ethics is looking at it. There's other people in jail because of it.
We went over this one yesterday. Whew.
And he wanted me to influence it.
That is pretty damning. The former Speaker of the House is saying his career ended and the entire House of Representatives was thrown into chaos for 3 weeks, all because Matt Gaetz wanted to be shielded from a House Ethics Committee investigation into whether or not he allegedly committed statutory rape.
Oh, we got another one of these fake games.
Listen, if you're innocent, there's no reason to oppose an investigation. I'll just say that. But as for Marjorie Taylor Greene's threat to oust Johnson, the same isn't true, although I do think that there is some truth to Ben Shapiro's speculation about whether or not this move is for attention. I think that's obvious, right? But to recap, Greene officially filed her motion to vacate Johnson before the House's 2-week Easter break. And side note, don't you wish that you got 2 weeks off for Easter? I mean, that's just such a long break. But regardless, during those 2 weeks, she was talking a lot of shit. For example, she likened Johnson to Nancy Pelosi, hilariously enough, and she even speculated about whether or not he changed his policy positions because he was being blackmailed. And by the time the break was over, the Washington Post reported that House Republicans were actually...
Oof. And don't worry. Hopefully this video will give us more insight as to what she told Johnson. Yeah, where's Nestor? Exactly. Where's Nestor, Mr. Gates?
Dreading their return because they weren't sure what sort of a shit show they'd be coming back to. And some Republicans are even getting the sense that Mike Johnson wants to quit because of all the bullshit. As Politico reports, some are also privately asking if Johnson even wants the job anymore. In private conversations in recent weeks, he's expressed his exhaustion and complained about a lack of sleep and the demands of frequent traveling. When shit hits the fan, members say he'll have some soul searching to do. So dude hates his life right now.
Good.
And there's a lot of talk among his allies about how he should have handled this situation or should be handling the situation
Good. Honestly, don't care.
with regard to Green, because Politico also explains that some of his allies wanted him to just call her bluff and dare her to force a vote on his ouster because they thought that it would fail. Mike Johnson, however, wasn't that confident, clearly, and instead chose to reach out to Marjorie Green. But here's how that went.
We exchanged text messages over the break multiple times and told her that I really would love to visit by phone or at her convenience, and she said she wasn't interested in that. So,
Okay.
In other words, she is power tripping hard and enjoying every fucking second of this. And I've got to say, I'm also enjoying it. So I guess thank you, Marjorie. Never
Yeah. Phenomenal.
thought I'd say that, but thank you for all the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah. Thanks for the content, okay? That's basically it. Thanks for the content. Listen, there's nothing of substance here. I'm just going to be straight up. There's nothing of substance here. It's just fascist infighting, okay? You love to see it.
Now, Mike Johnson was asked about some of the attacks lobbed against him by her, and his response was funny because you know that he wanted to say more, but he was biting his tongue because if he pisses her off anymore, it's over for him.
Marjorie Taylor Greene has been personal with this to you. I mean, she says you're, basically a deep state operative. She didn't use the word operative, but you're working for the deep state, in essence, paraphrasing. Also, she's attacked your faith. Talk to me a little bit about that kind of personal.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it, Speaker Johnson? Come on. She's attacking your character. She's attacking your faith. What are you going to do about it?
Reaction to the fact that she said some of this stuff?
well, I try to follow all the biblical admonitions as I do every day, and one of them says you bless those who persecute you. I'm getting a lot of practice in that right now. And that a soft word turns away wrath, and that those who are opposing you, you don't hate them and return evil for evil. You return good for evil. And so that's the way I live my life. That's the way I operate. And so I don't harbor any ill will towards Marjorie. Never have. I like Marjorie. I understand why she's upset. She's frustrated that we can't score touchdowns on every single play.
I don't know. It sounds to me like he just called you evil, Marjorie. You should probably do something about that.
Yeah. I agree. I think she should continue her crusade against Mike Johnson. Yeah, he's not gonna do anything. He knows he's cooked if she decides to follow through. You're like a child on Christmas morning. Yeah, that's literally what this is. Because man, you gotta savor every bit of this, okay? You gotta savor every bit of this.
That. Now, on a serious note, there's a difference between being the bigger person and pure cuckoldry, and what we saw was the latter. I understand that he didn't want to engage in personal attacks or gutter politics, but it felt like he was groveling at her feet, which is pathetic because he is the leader of the Republican Party who is afraid of one member. Now, since then, the break has ended, and Marjorie Green has responded to his kindness by spitting in his face.
As expected. Mouselander, welcome. Oh man.
So she doubled down and renewed her threat to oust him. So she sent out a letter to her colleagues, presumably making the case for Johnson's ouster. And here's how she claims that was received.
So you sent this letter out to your colleagues this morning. What kind of response?
Yeah, so we went over this. We went over this, that she sent a letter saying that Speaker Johnson is not keeping up his end of the deal, or something to that effect. Essentially attempting to see how much support, in my opinion, that's probably what she's trying to do. Try to see how much support she actually has, and see if she has enough to follow through.
Response have you got?
Mostly support. It's been pretty incredible. Everyone's flying into town today, though, so I have.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's not true. It's not true. I think that she might have a handful of people that actually agree and would actually follow through. But in reality, it just needs to be one. If all the Democrats vote to oust Mike Johnson, Marjorie Taylor Greene just needs one. That's it. Herself and one person. Maybe two, just to be safe. I'm not subscribed? I thought I was subscribed. Shame on me. More trend trader gangrene.
I haven't spoken with everyone, but most of the members I've talked to agree with what I've said. They may not come out and publicly say it. Many are relieved I've said it, and
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think most of these people are angry. I think most of these people are angry at her.
even heard within the ranks of leadership, there's agreement there. So
there's agreement from members of the leadership
with my letter, with much of what I said.
No, I don't believe her.
Letter. This is difficult to do. This is not what I would like to be doing, but I believe it's necessary. First, we admit the problems. First, we admit the wrongs, and then we come up with a plan for change. I'm working on the changes that I would like to see, and I'll be proposing with my colleagues, and I look forward to talking with them about that.
Is it changes in terms of specific people who would be the next Speaker of the House?
I haven't gotten to that step yet, but that may be something I move toward. Of course, that would be private conversations in our conference.
So Mike Johnson seemingly didn't want to call her bluff like his allies wanted him to, because if he dared her to bring it to a floor vote, she might actually do it. And I think that's pretty evident. Now, she claims that her colleagues responded well to her letter, and I think that there is actually some truth to that, for the fact that opposition to Johnson is actually growing, at least with respect to another issue.
The current discussions in our conference meeting this morning is about...
Yeah, I don't know. They all think she's a nut. Yeah, I tend to agree with that more than like, oh yeah, everybody's on Mike's side to oust the speakership and, you know, create a whole, another two weeks of freaking voting, rounds of voting. She may be a useful idiot though, maybe. I think she's an effing McCarthy. Oh, I think she's effing McCarthy.
About FISA, but it's pretty clear and obvious and being whispered among the conference. Mike Johnson does not have the support of the conference. The letter that I sent has been well received, and it was basically speaking the quiet part out loud. He's in there urging members to reauthorize FISA, and I don't think he has the votes for it right now.
That's true. That's actually true. This is what this article is about. House Republicans descend into chaos after right-wing lawmakers derail vote, which, by the way, for different reasons, but I actually agree. I actually agree that they shouldn't reauthorize. They should not reauthorize this. Like the reason, the reason why like these far right people, like the five far right conservative hardliners, they're just fascists, who are against the FISA renewal. They think that they think that the reason why this is bad is because they feel like the government is targeting them. And they feel like the government is, targeting specifically the MAGA movement. In my opinion, I think that's why they are against it. But nonetheless, the expansion of the surveillance state, not the expansion, but the continuation of a large surveillance state, any given opportunity to stop it sounds like a good opportunity. I'm glad that this is this could potentially fail. I'm glad. Did you see you trying to defend her? He's totally delusional. And McCarthy's known for effing around.
Now, is what I'm gathering. We're going to be working on this. We do not believe in warrantless spying on the American people, especially when this bill carves out the ability for Congress to be notified when a member of Congress is going to be looked at through the FISA court. That's completely unfair. The same thing should apply for the American people. But Mike Johnson doesn't have the trust of the conference, and that's become very clear.
Now, she goes on to speak out of both sides of her mouth because she claims that she doesn't have a specific line when it comes to bringing her motion to vacate.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking that these people think. They literally think that they're being targeted politically, and that's why they're against the FISA bill.
To the floor for a vote. But later she says that Johnson's handling of Ukraine and the FISA renewal is going to determine how the GOP conference handles the motion to vacate. So take from that what you will. So she's not being clear with her intentions here, and I do think that that's purposeful. I think that she just wants the threat to hang over his head for as long as possible, so that way she has maximum leverage. And to the extent that it's her strategy, I think it's working. Now, she arguably does have momentum on her side, at least when it comes to FISA. And I say this because dozens of Republicans came out swinging against the FISA renewal. And that includes Donald Trump, who explicitly told Johnson to kill FISA via Truth Social. Now, it ended up failing a procedural vote on Wednesday.
Whoa.
Swinging against the FISA renewal. And that includes Donald Trump, who explicitly...
I knew it. I freaking knew it. These people want to kill this because they feel like they're the ones who are being persecuted. And they feel like this is some kind of tool that will be targeted, that will be used to target them when that's... it's not the case. However, it is good that the FISA bill fails. Okay. I freaking knew it. Jesus. The victim complex is amazing. The victim complex is amazing. Never fails. Never fails.
Told Johnson to kill FISA via Truth Social. Now, it ended up failing a procedural vote on Wednesday, so it turned out that Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't necessarily wrong to point out the fact that opposition towards Johnson was building, at least with regard to this one issue. Now, that's not to say that they're also going to go along with their motion to vacate, but it is true that I think momentum is working in her favor here. Now, having said that, I do also want to say that it's super discouraging to see liberals like Mueller, she wrote, shit on Republicans for wanting to not renew FISA for hacky reasons, I guess. Now, they argue that The reason why Republicans oppose the renewal of FISA is because they're in cahoots with foreign governments and just want to hide that fact. But that is totally irrelevant. Warrantless surveillance violates the Fourth Amendment, period. Liberals should not support warrantless surveillance. That's unconstitutional.
Right. Right. Like the whole FISA thing is bad. Okay. It's just that we think it's bad for different reasons than these far-right lunatics. Okay. That's the difference.
Just because Republicans oppose it. Furthermore, even if it were constitutionally permissible, we still shouldn't be okay with it because intelligence agencies abuse that power, as the Snowden leaks taught us. Hence why he retweeted all of the Republicans that were opposed to it. And it's not just Republicans who opposed it. Pramila Jayapal, for example, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, also criticized Johnson, writing on Twitter, "This is so disappointing. When Speaker Johnson was on the Judiciary Committee with me, he was in our coalition fighting for major FISA reforms to protect sensitive data. Now that he's Speaker, he's folding the spy agencies who want to violate your privacy." She continues, "FISA bill says FBI to notify Congress members to spy on us, but regular Americans can be spied on without a warrant. Our bipartisan judiciary bill required intelligence agencies to get a warrant before spying on Americans. We need to pass the warrant amendment to protect Americans." Exactly. So this is something that should be opposed on principle, not due to party affiliation. So it's sad that some liberals are choosing to go after Republicans the one time they've ever been correct ever. Like, let them have this fight, because in this regard, we all benefit if FISA is not renewed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, liberals, right? What can you say? Like, all with the account, the specific account that he's talking about is like a super vote blue no matter who type deal, like super liberal. So, not surprising.
But with that being said, the issue does highlight some of the frustration that Green and other Republicans have with Johnson. He has flip-flopped on multiple issues since becoming Speaker, but I don't think that that's surprising because that position requires a degree of moderation by its very nature, right? Like it or not, you have to work with Democrats, especially when they control the Senate and the White House. And compromise is just part of the job if you want the government to just do its basic functions, right? That's not going to change if you get a new speaker, and Marjorie Greene doesn't understand that. So there is opposition to Johnson, and that's not surprising. Having said that, though, Greene might be overestimating how much support she has for her motion to vacate, because even though other people might be frustrated with Johnson, they're not going to support her motion to vacate, because that's just absurd. You can disagree without going that far, and some of them have come out and publicly vocalized support for Johnson.
It's an impossible job. The Lord Jesus himself could not manage his
The Lord Jesus himself could not manage this conference. How did the guy interviewing her keeps a straight face? I don't know. It's the same guy interviewing this dude, so I guess he has practice.
Conference or this kind, you just can't do it.
I think Mike Johnson is a great human. He doesn't lie like the last guy.
I think people don't like.
He doesn't lie like the last guy.
So that's not good for our side. And with a one-seat majority, it doesn't only take a couple people to create dysfunction.
I think Speaker Johnson is working his guts out, doing the best he can with a lot of feral cats.
Small sample size, but you get the point.
Yeah, that's the same reporter. Superhuman power. He deserves an Oscar.
Even the Republicans who agree with Greene simply don't want to throw the entire House into chaos again because they have a couple of minor disagreements with Mike Johnson. And Greene was actually asked about this by Manu Raju, whether or not she's worried that she'd be doing the same thing that Matt Gaetz did. And she said, yeah, she's worried. But actually, Mike Johnson already threw the House into chaos. So what are you going to do? So the takeaway is that she is not backing down.
Good.
But I did mention a bribe earlier in the video, and it did come up during the meeting that they finally had. And CNN's Manu Raju explains, after a 70-minute long meeting with Mike Johnson, Marjorie Taylor Greene told us she aired her grievances with him, told him not to move forward with any aid to Ukraine and drop his FISA plans. She doesn't say when she'd move to oust him. She also says that Johnson offered her a position on an advisory board of his. So there you have it. He presumably made up a fake position to bribe her with it. I mean... It's a tale as old as time, right? If someone threatens your power, you offer them a little bit of power to co-opt them. Now, whether or not she's gonna take that position or have a change of heart, that's yet to be seen. But even if she did choose to back down, I think that publicly she would still choose to drag this on as long as possible, because this does benefit her in the sense that she gets a lot of attention and press coverage for it, and she can also fundraise about how she held Mike Johnson, a rhino, accountable. Now, to that I say, good. Go Marjorie, at least in this limited sense, right? Because I think that Republicans are genuinely ontologically evil, and the more infighting and self-sabotage that they do, the better off we'll all be as a country. And aside from the utility of this ordeal, I'm not gonna lie, I just find this all incredibly entertaining. I lost interest in reality TV a few years ago, and I never really understood why it didn't resonate with me anymore, but I think it's because Congress fills that void, right? This
True. This day and age, I think that's pretty true. Tiger Girl 420, welcome. Hi chat, first stream, welcome, howdy. True. Who needs garbage reality TV when you can just like flip on freaking C-SPAN and CNN interviews of Republican Congress, right?
This is the most entertaining, batshit insane television show I've ever seen. So, I mean, who needs The Challenge or The Bachelor or Real Housewives when you've got episode 32 of Marjorie versus Mike Johnson, or possibly Ben Shapiro versus Marjorie Greene? Like, it's all so entertaining to me that, like, this is the only entertainment I need when it comes to reality TV. So, keep it up, Marjorie. Give them hell. And follow that motion. Make it official.
Yeah, there you go. True. Wolfgang, welcome. Poor OJ. Hope he can now find the killer. It's in the mirror, bro. In the mirror. All he has to do is look in the mirror.
Well, she already filed it, but bring it to the floor, Marjorie. Do it. I think that that's what Jesus would want, okay? Follow your heart.
Yeah, I think so too. Too Hot to Handle was pretty entertaining. Never watched it. Never watched it. That's right. Marjorie, listen to Jesus, okay? Listen to the little voice. Make it official, okay? What is it? Starts with the letter. Make it privileged. There you go. Make it privileged. Marjorie, go ahead. Listen to Jesus. Don't? Okay.
Just do it.
True. True. All right, so now moving on. Supposedly, I hope this video gives us more context. Unless it's going to be like the same.
House Mike Johnson has addressed more in depth than I've seen previously the attempt by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene to oust him, and she's demanding before she brings this resolution to a vote, before we even do that, go ahead and figure out who the person's going to be who replaces Mike Johnson. Or I guess maybe Mike Johnson could do a 180 and be different and win her back over. I don't really know. But regardless,
hello, Conscious Canuck.
we'll look at in this segment clips of Mike Johnson saying what it was that Marjorie Greene recently texted to him. pretty brutal. And then we'll also look at Marjorie Greene explaining her Marjorie Greene-like logic, so not very logical, on this subject. Before doing any of that, please make sure you are subscribed to this channel. I am genuinely so dang grateful to each and every one of you who has subscribed already. And I'm sorry you have to keep hearing this because you're like, I did it. Gosh, stop asking me. But the others, it's not getting thousand people.
Spending bill, and guess what? Spending bill. Tried over the 2-week break. She wasn't interested in.
Said here's clip 1.
Marjorie.
So wait, so is there like more context? Is there more context? I am cooler and edgier. Just make Trump Speaker of the House. He's not very busy. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, wasn't she one of the people that that put his name for the previous time they had this last year? Was it her? Yeah. Okay. Was. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Taylor Greene, you're going to speak to her this week. Have you spoken to her?
I tried over the 2-week break. She wasn't interested in speaking, and that's okay. Look, Marjorie is upset about the spending bill, and guess what? So am I. It's not the bill that I would have drafted or all of us would have drafted if we had the majority in the House and the Senate and had a Republican president that would sign it into law. But instead, we have Democrats in those.
You mean Marjorie? Yeah, was it Marjorie? Oh, she wanted McCarthy to stay in. Okay, so who? Okay. Marjorie was one of the McCarthy supporters. Made a deal to get him to committees. Okay. So who's the one that put Trump? Who's the one that put Trump? When that whole speakership fight happened, who? Who was the one that like put Trump's name on it? You mean Marjorie? She wanted McCarthy to stay in. Okay, gotcha. My bad. Who was the one that put Trump's name? I'm pretty sure that somebody did during that speakership fight. I don't remember, but I know someone did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was somebody. There was a few of them. The name escapes me. Who put Trump's name for speakership? Oh, okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can't remember who. Maybe Boebert. One more time. Whenever I try to remember exactly how that went, I just get Daft Punk looping in my brain. Troy Nels. Okay. There we go. There we go. Matt Gaetz. Oh, wait. I think Matt Gaetz put his name too, didn't it? Who voted for Trump for Speaker of the House? That's what Google said? Yeah. But, I I think there's a few of them, like Cognizant said.
The other two chambers, the Senate and, of course, the Oval Office. And so they know over here that we have a one-vote margin, so I have virtually zero leverage to be able to negotiate and get a better package. So the alternative was binary. We either do that or we shut the government down. And our evaluation was exactly what the polls affirmed. If we shut the government down, it would be very painful for the American people. They would blame the Republicans, and we would lose the House majority. So that was not a real choice that we had.
Yeah. What about, as it relates to Marjorie Taylor Greene, real quick? So you've reached out, but she's not returning your calls or something along those lines?
We exchanged text messages over the break multiple times and told her that I really would love to visit by phone or at her convenience, and she said she wasn't interested in that. So,
okay.
Oof. Eesh. Ouch. The Republican Speaker of the House is told by Marjorie Greene, nah, I don't want to talk to you. And
that was the extent of it? No more? I thought it was going to be more juicy. Looks like Gate was the only one who officially nominated him. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. I knew it was like one person. But I couldn't remember who was the lead clown in that regard.
And that's the respect he gets. Can you imagine? Now, why am I so delighted by all this? I know what you're thinking. Luke, tone it down a little bit, okay? This is
prime time. This is gold, okay? This is prime time. There's no toning it down. This is the time to keep stirring that pot, okay? You need to keep stirring that pot. So many chuds, so little time.
This is real stuff. And it is. The chaos that's ensuing because of Republicans absolutely has real repercussions. Think about what could be happening right now. Real things could be getting done by the House of Representatives instead of this nonsense. So,
right, but like you want, because the House is controlled by Republicans by one vote, you don't want them doing stuff. You don't want them doing stuff unless that stuff is beneficial, right? Unless they're taking up like bills to pass freaking healthcare, okay? I don't want the Republicans doing anything, quite frankly. Getting things done in the 118th Congress.
So that's real. That impacts people's lives and matters a ton. In the meanwhile, while we understand Republicans aren't really going to be doing much, I think for our own sanity, it's acceptable to laugh at the fact that this party that has allowed itself to be consumed by this MAGA, doesn't care about policy, conspiratorial sort of movement is finally starting to understand just how annoying that is when you allow the Marjories of the world to have this much power. It's not good. And the governance falls apart very quickly.
Yeah, and it's their fault. And it's their fault. Wait, we got another? Is this the same clip? Hold on.
The Speaker of the House himself, Mike Johnson. In fact, they were supposed to speak on Friday, but that didn't happen. And I asked Marjorie Taylor Greene,
okay, so this is a separate clip.
Why not? And she said, well, because she wanted to have a town hall with her constituents first. That happened yesterday. She said she's ready to meet with them going forward.
Are you worried about chaos in the middle of an election year?
Well, of course I'm worried about chaos in an election year. Mike Johnson has put us into chaos. Do you realize that all of my colleagues had to go back to their districts and campaign on the fact that our Republican elected speaker passed the Biden agenda, that he funded the Department of Justice that has 91 federal indictments against President Trump?
Wait, I thought you didn't like the idea of defunding the police. This is a defund the police argument.
That he funded the FBI that raided Mar-a-Lago.
Another defund the police argument. She's worried about not causing enough chaos. Exactly.
That he funded Biden's open border, which is the #1
True. Borders are completely wide open, folks.
Issue in America. Yes, we are in chaos, and that's coming from Mike Johnson, our Republican elected speaker. Am I concerned about a contentious, difficult 3.5 weeks electing a speaker? Absolutely. I was miserable during that time. All of us were.
Yes, so she did admit that indeed she said she wasn't interested in talking to Mike Johnson, but apparently, reportedly, she had time to get on the phone with Trump while she was dedicated to speaking to those in her district. So it was just Mike she didn't want to talk to, not anyone outside of her district. But then the second point she made there, I've said this before, but think about how crazy it is that openly she's broadcasting the fact that her aggravation with Mike Johnson, the first two things she lists has to do with her wanting Mike Johnson to enable an assault on law enforcement organizations, right? So the DOJ and FBI, she wants those to be defunded.
Right.
To Marjorie Greene.
Right. She's essentially creating a defund the police argument. Which, quite frankly, whatever. I just think it's hilarious on a hypocritical level. Who do you think the Orange Menace will choose for VP? I have no idea. I honestly have absolutely no idea. All bets are off, to be honest. There's a few people that he made a mention of, but some of them just can't be because they're from Florida. My money's still on Kristi Noem. Got it. Eventually, he's going to have to announce a VP, I imagine.
And then she's turning around being like, whoosh.
With regard to Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a colleague. I've always considered her a friend. Marjorie and I don't disagree, I don't think, on any matter of philosophy. We're both
we're both fascists.
Conservatives, but we do disagree sometimes on strategy and with regard to what we put on the floor and when and those things. Marjorie is frustrated by the last appropriations package, the spending bills, and you know what? So am I. I mean, here's the reality that we have to remind everybody, and you all know in the room because you're here every day, but some people back home don't.
Please help. I think you will pick a woman for sure, and I think it would be pretty soon. Ivanka is out of it enough to nominate his own son, Donald Trump Jr.
Realize.
Beavis? No. Is that Butthead or Beavis? In 2016, he chose Pence on July. Okay, so yeah, there's still quite a while to go. Quite a ways to go.
We have the smallest majority in U.S. history. We've got a one-vote margin right now. This is an historic moment. There's never been anything like this. And at the same time, we, Republicans, only have that majority in one House. We don't have it in the Senate, obviously.
Please, Marge,
the Democrats
please.
are in charge, and we obviously don't have the White House right now. That's a Democrat there, too. So
yeah, so there, as he did in the interview clip that we watched, he's just sort of explaining basic governance to Marjorie Greene. Okay, Marjorie, if your party only has a majority in one chamber of Congress and doesn't have control of the White House and only has a one-person majority, then you probably can't get every single thing that you want to get. And I'll remind you that this issue, a lot of times when these chaotic moments explode, the talking point out there, especially from sort of your I'm above everything, above the fray, enlightened centrist sort of peeps, which love to you. I would just encourage you to reconsider a little bit. The talking point is popular of, see, Congress doesn't work. See, now things are so divided and broken. And
yeah, but who made it that way? Tiger Girl 420, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. They're both butthead. Yeah, so the reason why that is because of conservatives.
Both sides are so messed up that now things just don't get done. When Democrats had the majority in the House and Senate, and of course Biden's still in the White House the first 2 years of his presidency, we saw a bunch of major bipartisan pieces of legislation, not to mention the Democratic piece of legislation that only had Democratic support. But let's just set that aside. A bunch of the major achievements under Joe Biden during his first 2 years were bipartisan. The gun safety bill, bipartisan. The PACT Act, bipartisan. The Chips and Science Act.
Jon Stewart had a bit about that on The Daily Show 20 years ago. Republican candidate Government doesn't work. Vote for me and I'll prove it. Exactly. There you go. Yes. Yes.
The infrastructure law, we talk about those constantly. These are major pieces of legislation and major to the achievements that we'd give credit to Biden for, and they're bipartisan. And that's something that reveals this is sort of a one-sided issue, because when Democrats have all the power, they're still willing to work with Republicans.
Yeah, unfortunately, nowadays that's not good, not great, not good. However, I do agree that this is a one-sided issue. The reason why this is also dysfunctional, the reason why there's so much division and whatever, is because of conservatives. Anyways, I wanted to see if there was any more juicy details between the exchange of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Johnson, but apparently, that's all the tea we're gonna get. That's all the tea we're gonna get. Apparently, he tried to reach out to her and she didn't want to talk to him. All right. Before we get going on this, so apparently Matt Walsh has been going on a pro-forced birth tirade. And yesterday he posted this, which I personally think that every Republican should run proudly on a state or federal ban of on abortion. Every Republican should run on a state or federal ban of abortion, depending on what they're running for. So he puts here, if you tell me that a matter of prudence and smart political strategy, a Republican candidate should not call for a federal ban on abortion, I can buy that. What we actually are seeing from many Republicans right now goes far beyond that. They are running to the left, openly opposing even statewide pro-life laws, and preemptively surrendering the argument out of fear. Yeah, the fear would be that they don't get elected. So yeah, I agree, Matt. They should proudly run. They should proudly run on a pro-forced birth platform. They should. This is what Republicans have been doing for decades, by the way, and it has never paid off. You can't win pro-abortion votes by being mildly pro-abortion. Those voters will always go with the Democrat anyways. You have no choice but to buck up, grow a spine, and actually make the pro-life case. There is none. The pro-life case is a misnomer. It's a misdirection. Yeah. You have to accurately translate this. It's actually make the pro-forced birth case. Go on the offense. Stand your ground. The pro-forced birth case is incredibly compelling. It's not. But you have to make it. You cannot win an argument you refuse to have. I agree, Matt Walsh. I agree. Go out there and make sure every Republican runs on a unapologetic anti-abortion platform. Okay. In fact, I would call on all Republicans, on all conservatives, to only vote for candidates in primaries and whatnot, to only vote for candidates who are unapologetically pro forced birth, and see how that pans out. See how that pans out electorally. As someone who is pro-choice, and as someone who values the ability for people to have bodily autonomy, I think that this is a great strategy. Welcome, Fishbone. I think this is a phenomenal strategy. And as you can see, the responses are about as you can see, the responses are about as normal as you expect them to be. Republicans are anti-food security, anti-Head Start, anti-healthcare, anti-worker. Yeah. They're not even pro-life. They're not even pro-life anywhere. Anyways, it's a misnomer. Anti-human. There you go. So as you can see, the responses are about as normal as you expect from a Matt Walsh audience. Quote, "We need to protect the sanctity of life" is a weak argument that will never stick. The reason why it doesn't stick is because it's not true. Okay? The reason why it doesn't stick is because it's not true. You can't claim to want to protect the sanctity of life when you are literally putting people's lives in danger by forcing them to go through a pregnancy, even when their health is at risk. Quote, "We need to stop doctors from dismembering babies and vacuuming out the remains. Would work so much better." Yeah. Go forth and try that argument. No Republican has ever said that in a nationally televised debate in my memory. No, you have to understand. You need to be more unhinged, okay? Yeah. I agree, Corey Toomey. And of course, this is a video that they decide to put. Very normal, very hinged. Yeah. Culture Crusader. Culture Crusader, so, yeah. Christ is Lord. Most politicians think their problem is being too firm. They want broad appeal. In reality, their problem is being too soft on certain issues. People want leaders to stand for something. That's why Trump won the first time he actually took a stand on the border. Okay. Kraftwerk. These people would evict a baby that doesn't pay rent, but want a person to carry another living thing rent-free in their bodies by law. Exactly. Exactly. Very hinged, very normal. Yeah, I mean, go for it. I think all Republicans should genuinely campaign by being unapologetically pro-forced birth. You know, that's going to do wonders for them. Just days after returning from a 2-week recess, right-wing fury spurred on by former President Trump brought the House to a standstill in a significant blow to House Speaker Mike Johnson as he grapples with the threat to his leadership post. 19 House Republicans shot down a procedural step known as a rule vote in the House on a controversial spying law that has renewed GOP infighting. The move effectively froze the House and left the legislation in a state of limbo. This is the renewal of the FISA. It became quickly apparent that several conservative hardliners, furious at Johnson accusing leaders of leaving their voices out, were angling to shut down the bill. Trump also told Republicans on early Wednesday to kill FISA in an 11th hour post on Truth Social, emboldening conservative opposition to Johnson's reapproval plan. Personally, I think that's fine. Personally, I think that's fine. Cosmopolitics rating with a party of 5. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Folks, if you're coming in and you have not seen me before, I'm a Difficult Truth. I do the news, I do the politics. We're here Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you enjoy your stay and you enjoy the content, feel free to hit the follow button and join us. I appreciate it. Huge shout out to Cosmopolitics. Thank you for bringing your wonderful community over. Thank you. If you haven't done so, please consider checking out twitch.tv/cosmopolitics. Let me see if I got this right. There you go. Please go show her some support. He chews up chuds too. Yeah, that's what I do sometimes. All this was happening as Representative Green dangles a motion to vacate over Johnson's head. It's an effort that, if passed, would boot him from the speakership. Green's move alongside the open rebellion in the House vote underscores the growing frustration at Johnson from conservatives who say the speaker isn't fighting hard enough for them. One of the conservatives who derailed FISA, Representative Andy Ogles from Tennessee, told USA Today the frustrations within the far right ranks have reached a point that it's not clear that Johnson would survive an effort to oust him, calling the House fickle. Johnson sought to sell the plan to reauthorize the surveillance legislation in a meeting Wednesday and touted other reforms to FISA, stressing its importance as advocates said it was essential to national security. Nah. Shortly after the conservatives tanked the rule vote, Republican leaders called a snap meeting among GOP lawmakers to discuss the path forward. But members leaving the impromptu huddle didn't describe it as productive. Max Miller, representative of Ohio, left the meeting early and said there was zero progress made on renewing FISA. The forum quickly devolved into members yelling at one another and blaming other lawmakers for the dysfunction. If anyone says there's a path forward on FISA right now, they're lying. A bill is rarely one thing. What else is in a FISA bill? Like, from what I understand, it's basically a vestige from the War on Terror, and it's essentially a way of monitoring people, essentially bypassing the Fourth Amendment. It's a way of like monitoring people without needing a warrant. We can lose that. Yeah, I think, like, again, like, the reason why these people are angry at FISA is because they think that they're being persecuted politically. In fact, we showed Donald Trump saying, like, oh, they use this to spy on my campaign. But in reality, we can lose that because it's just too much power. It's just too much unnecessary power. They don't need that kind of power. Not at all. During the meeting's open mic session, some members called to punish the conservative rabble-rousers for tanking the rule vote. Lawmakers leaving the intense meeting described it as a venting session, which GOP conference meetings have become in recent months. I'm getting deja vu of the deja vu, said Representative Mario Diaz-Balart. But even amid the frustration, some lawmakers acknowledge it's par for the course for the House GOP. I mean, I think we can pretty much stop there, right? FISA reauthorization may have a clear path to approval in the Senate, where leaders on both sides agree the need to extend the spying law, and ultra-conservative senators don't have the same power to derail the proceedings. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said on the Senate floor Wednesday that Congress must ensure FISA authorities are renewed during this work period. Warrantless surveillance, including Americans when they are overseas, right? So I'm good. I'm good on this. Switching gears here. Remember that video that we saw? Was it yesterday or the day before? Anyways, recently, where the lady from the RFK Jr. campaign was saying that, like, ultimately the goal of the campaign was to was to make Biden lose. Yeah, RFK consultant terminated after saying that voting for him helps get rid of Biden. RFK Jr.'s independent presidential campaign says it has ended its contract with a consultant who was seen on video encouraging people to vote for him in order to get rid of Biden, even if that means electing President Trump. Campaign manager Amaryllis Fox announced the decision in a post on X in response to Kennedy supporter asking for the campaign to distance itself from Rita Palmer. A video of the Palmer's comments had energized Democrats online, as they said it confirmed their accusations that the purpose of the Kennedy campaign is to hand the White House back to Trump over President Biden. Kennedy rejects that. Quote, "We terminated her contract for misrepresentation immediately upon seeing the longer video, and she gave an inaccurate job title and described a conversation that didn't happen." While speaking to a crowd in New York on Friday in an event unaffiliated with the campaign, Palmer falsely identified herself as the campaign's New York State director, according to the Kennedy campaign, and the video of Palmer's comments that circulated online. Quote, my time with Team Kennedy has been one of the best political adventures of my life, filled with some of the best people I've encountered, and I've encountered many, Palmer told ABC News via text message after she was terminated. I hold no ill will and will look forward to the next 7 months of watching Bobby shine. She did not respond to a question about why she identified herself as the campaign's New York State director. Wait, why is this linking me to... I thought this was going to give me a freaking video. Kennedy's team has already been pushing back on Palmer's comments in the video, which has been shared by Democratic operatives on social media and elsewhere. At the Friday event, Palmer told Kennedy supporters that backing him in New York, even if Trump ultimately won the White House, made sure that we're rid of Biden either way. Yeah, this is definitely the video that we went over. The truth hurts. No, the truth is difficult. But why wouldn't we put our vote to Bobby and at least get rid of Biden and get those 28 electoral votes in New York to Bobby rather than to Biden, thereby reducing Biden's 270? Palmer said in the video. And we all know that works, right? 270 wins the election. If you don't get 270, if nobody gets to 270, then Congress picks the president. And who are they going to pick if it's a Republican Congress? They'll pick Trump. We're rid of Biden either way. Kennedy's campaign manager told ABC News earlier this week that she had spoken to Palmer on Monday and determined that she was operating as a private citizen at a health freedom event. A health freedom event. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb here and take a wild guess and say that the health freedom event was some kind of anti-vax event. She definitely does not speak on behalf of the campaign, Fox said. She's never been to one of our strategy meetings or any kind of leadership meeting on electoral strategy in New York or nationally. So after making too much of a stink and getting and that clip that we went over the other day becoming way too viral, she was terminated from the Kennedy campaign. Shifting gears real quick. The Biden administration will require 1,000 more gun dealers to run background checks on buyers. Hey, this is good. It's something anyways. Thousands more firearm dealers across the U.S. will have to run background checks on buyers at gun shows or other places outside brick and mortar stores, according to the Biden administration. Rule that will soon go into effect. The rule aims to close a loophole. The rule aims to close a loophole that has allowed tens of thousands of guns to be sold every year by unlicensed dealers who do not perform background checks to ensure the potential buyer is not legally prohibited from having a firearm. Gun rights groups are expected to fight it in court. No doubt. It's the administration's latest effort to combat gun violence, but in the contentious election year, it's also an effort to show voters, especially younger ones for whom gun violence deeply resonates, that the White House is trying to stop the deaths. Quote, "This is going to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers and felons," said President Biden, "and my administration is going to continue to do everything we possibly can to save lives. Congress needs to help finish the job and pass universal background checks now." That's common sense, not radical at all. Yeah, like this isn't like this is really like we're talking bare minimum kind of stuff. We're talking bare minimum kind of stuff. Like, oh no, more places are going to require you to have like a basic background check to make sure that you're not supposed to have a firearm. Like, man, I swear, they treat weed as more dangerous than freaking guns in this country. Yeah. The rule, true. The rule, which was finalized this week, makes clear that anyone who sells firearms predominantly to earn a profit must be federally licensed and conduct background checks, regardless of whether they are selling on the internet, at a gun show, or at a brick and mortar store, said Attorney General Merrick Garland told reporters. I mean, like, this isn't controversial, folks. Okay, this is not controversial at all. This is like bare minimum stuff. Biden has made curtailing gun violence as a major part of his administration and re-election campaign, creating the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, overseen by Vice President Kamala Harris. Biden has also urged Congress to ban so-called assault weapons, something Democrats shied from even just a few years ago. Excuse me. The rule is likely to be challenged in court by gun rights activists who believe the Democratic president is unfairly targeting gun owners. Question mark? How is this unfairly targeting gun owners? This is targeting the people who sell guns. This doesn't make any sense. Cannabis is more dangerous. It could help you think more clearly. It is dangerous in their heads. That's true. The rule is likely to be challenged in court by gun rights activists who believe the Democratic president is unfairly targeting gun owners. The NRA said in a statement that it is already working to use all means available to stop this unlawful rule. The National Shooting Sports Foundation, an industry trade group, has also warned of a court challenge if the rule was finalized as written. Lawrence Keene, the foundation senior vice president and general counsel, said on Thursday today that the organization was reviewing the regulation after contending previously that the the ATF was overstepping its legal authority. Biden administration officials said they are confident that the rule, which drew more than 380,000 public comments, would withstand the lawsuits. The administration first proposed the rule in August after the passage of the most sweeping gun violence bill in decades, a bipartisan compromise in response to the massacre of 19 students and 2 teachers at Uvalde. That law extends the definition of of those who are engaged in business of selling firearms and are required to become licensed by the ATF and therefore run background checks. The rule, which so in other words, like, oh no, you who are a gun seller by trade are going to be forced to have I imagine you're going to now have to have an FFL and run background checks, yada yada yada. The rule, which implements the change in the law, will take effect 30 days after it's published in the Federal Register. There are already roughly 80,000 federally licensed federally is that FFL? No, FFL is something else. Federally licensed firearms dealers. Administration officials believe the new rule will impact more than 20,000 dealers who have gotten away with selling firearms without a license and performing background checks at places like gun shows and over the internet by claiming that they are engaged in the business of firearm sales. Right. Quote, everybody can see that people are not following the law in significant numbers, said ATF Director Steve Dettelbach in an interview, and it's just wrong for public safety. It's wrong for fairness. When all these licensed dealers are out here following the rules, for people to think that they don't have to play by the same set of rules. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. The rule makes it clear that there are instances when a license is not needed, such as people who occasionally resell firearms to a family member or liquidate their personal collection. Republican Senator Cornyn of Texas and Tom Tillis of North Carolina, who were instrumental in the passage of the gun law, have started an effort to block the rule from going into effect. But that is unlikely to succeed because the president would have the final say. It comes a week after the ATF released new data that shows that 68,000 illegally trafficked firearms in the U.S. came through unlicensed dealers who aren't required to perform background checks over a 5-year period. The ATF also reported that guns trafficked through unlicensed dealers were used in 370 shootings, nearly 370 shootings between 2017 and 2021. Gun control advocates who have long pushed to close a so-called gun show loophole praise the regulation as a big step toward their universal background check for gun buyers, a Democratic priority that has been blocked by Republicans in Congress. Quote, expanding background checks and closing the gun seller loophole is a massive victory for safer communities, and it was made possible thanks to the tireless advocacy of our grassroots movement, said Angela Farrell Zabala, the executive director for Moms Demand Action, said in an emailed statement. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to this at all. Under no circumstance should anyone engaging in the business of selling firearms in any way, shape, or form be able to sell firearms without conducting at least like a freaking background check. That shouldn't be a thing. So yeah, I'm okay with this. All right, folks. I'd like to remind folks before we get started on this, if you're on the YouTube, please consider liking the stream. Please consider subscribing. It really does help us out. I appreciate you guys. Again, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to follow. Thank you guys. All right, content warning on this one. USAID administrator says it's credible to assess famine is already occurring in parts of Gaza. Yeah. I just heard that the FISA bill includes foreign intelligence. Yes, it's the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That's what it is. So not only is it the UN people on the ground saying that famine is imminent, but our own administrator for humanitarian aid said that this is happening. The top U.S. humanitarian official said on Wednesday yesterday that it is credible to assess that famine is already occurring in parts of Gaza as the this isn't a war, as the ethnic cleansing continues. Although the U.S. officials have been sounding the alarm about imminent risk of famine in the war-torn Strip, USAID Administrator Samantha Power is the first official to publicly agree with the assessment that famine is already taking place. The assessment is likely to fuel further calls for the administration to put restrictions on its military aid to Israel. Doubt it. Yeah, the spy on everybody law. The Foreign Assistance Act bears assistance to any country that prohibits or otherwise is restricts directly or indirectly the transport or delivery of United States humanitarian assistance. Are they going to do anything about it? Because they've already done this, right? Like, they've already violated this. And just to kind of add a little bit of context here, not context, just to add a little bit more to what's being said here. Under the domestic and international laws of war, citizens are forbidden from taking part in a war on the side of the aggressor and are legally bound to disobey orders of any government that takes part in a legal war or supports active genocide, crimes against humanity, or war crimes. This duty to refuse to obey unlawful government orders includes orders to pay tax, income and council tax, and VAT taxes. If a government uses the funds raised by taxation to wage illegal war or commit genocide, crimes against humanity, or war crimes, then the taxpayer's normal duty to pay tax is reversed and becomes a duty to refuse to pay taxes. Happy Tax Day, that's coming up soon, you know. Just saying. How cool would it be if this was a thing that we could enforce here? I noticed they were talking about getting ready to bomb southern Gaza while the eclipse footage was going on. Yeah, I think that the invasion of Rafah is imminent, or not. Yeah, imminent, meaning that I think that they're going to do it. There's no stopping that. Top Biden administration officials, including President Biden, have told Israeli officials they must do more to immediately address the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza or risk change in U.S. policy. Quote, Israel has made important commitments to significantly increase the supply of humanitarian assistance through Gaza and has taken some initial actions as well to move on those commitments. Nah, I don't believe you. But what matters is the results and sustained results, and this is what we will be looking at very carefully. At a congressional hearing on Wednesday, Democratic Representative Joaquin Castro asked Power about a HuffPost report on a USAID cable warning that famine was likely already happening and whether it's plausible or likely that parts of Gaza, and particularly northern Gaza, are already experiencing famine. Power cited a mid-March assessment from the Integrated Food Security Phase Clarification, or IPC, noting that the methodology that the IPC used is one that we had our experts scrub. And it's one that's relied upon in other settings, and that is their assessment, and we believe that that assessment is credible. So there's famine already occurring there. Joaquin Castro continued. That is yes, she replied. An IPC analysis from mid-March, so not that long ago, stated that the latest evidence confirms that famine is imminent in the northern governance of the Gaza Strip and projected to occur anytime between mid-March and May of 24. According to the most likely scenario, both North Gaza and Gaza governorates governorates are classified in the IPC Phase 5 famine with reasonable evidence, with 70% found, with 70% around 210,000 people of the population in IPC Phase 5 catastrophe. Jesus. The independent analysis by food insecurity and famine experts released in March determined that people in northern Gaza would face famine between mid-March and May. We are now in mid-April, and there has not been any new assessment. The conditions are dire, she said. There's famine in Gaza. How do you define famine? That's literally how they would... I wouldn't be surprised if that's the response. Like, if a reporter asked... John Kirby, that's exactly how he would respond. Quote, our focus across the entire administration has been on surging food and nutritional interventions on Gaza. Hey, that's interesting. Real quick, why has that been a problem? Real quick, like just out of curiosity, why do you think that's been a problem? Power noted that in northern Gaza, the rate of malnutrition prior to October 7th was almost zero, and now, and it is now 1 in 3 kids. Food has not flowed in sufficient quantities to avoid this imminent famine in the south, and these conditions are have already given rise to child deaths in the north. Again, why? What is the cause of this? Hey, spread it forward. The way they've been delivering food has been completely atrocious. Yeah. Why? Is that the end of the article? The situation there is dire, folks. No humanity anymore out of our administration. Yep, and also like the aid that is set to be, given, is continuously blocked and delayed by the Israeli government. Time and time again, we have seen this, and the situation there is dire. Is dire. Again, using starvation as a method of war is a war crime. Like you can't do that. You can't do that. Bombing food aid workers or feeding people is a war crime. It's unacceptable. So again, at what point, what is it going to take for the administration to say enough is enough? The amount of war crimes that have been committed in the last couple of years is ridiculous by everyone. That's true. That's true. Here we are again. And we are incapable of doing the right thing. Folks, it is 7 o'clock, so I gotta get going to the store. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you, by the way, Spread It Forward. We can only hope those in charge get their ish straight. Sheesh. A tall order, my friend. A tall order. A tall order. Thank you, Spread It Forward, for stopping by. I appreciate it. Firefly, thank you. Cognizant, Kamikaze. Fishbone on the YouTube, thank you. The Simulacra, thank you. Tiger Girl, thank you for hanging out and throwing a follow. Wolfglen, thank you. Mouselander, thank you. Derry Bennett, Quad Bennett, thank you. I appreciate it. Mayhem Hippie, thank you. Yellow King, thank you. ADT, thank you. No, I appreciate you guys. You guys are what makes this go. Thank you all. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Spread It Forward. The mods in chat. Thank you all. Quick shout out to Cosmopolitics. Thank you so much for bringing your wonderful community over. Thank you. Please consider taking some time to follow Cosmopolitics on Twitch, and please consider following her on the Twitter as well. As far as supporting the channel, you guys can do it in so many different ways. Like the stream on YouTube. I see you guys. Thank you guys so much. Join the Discord. I appreciate it. Join the Discord. You get to hang out with some cool people, and we do monthly movie nights. If you want to support the channel, consider checking out the merch store by hitting !merch. I got to get going, folks. Thank you. It is basically the weekend. Enjoy, folks. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya! Yeah, I like that cat emote. Spread It Forward. Hang tight, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.